Good evening, everyone. Coming up tonight on Prime Business, the trading community has welcomed the review of rules covering advance payment for imports by the Bank of Ghana, but calls for a further revision of documentation requirements. According to the Ghana Union of Traders Association, that's GUTA, the stringent demand of documentation has been a major concern of their members, which ought to be looked at. Speaking on Business Live, President of GUTA, Joseph Obeng, said they will be engaging the Bank of Ghana for further engagements on the documentation requirements.
The Bank of Ghana is doing what they have to do under the circumstance to encourage a lot more people to transact through the mainstream. But as I'm saying, we have to engage them more because the documentation requirement, the threshold has been increased, but the documentation, like the bill of lading, IDF, and the cleared documents and all that remains the same. That's the declaration that we do for 90 days and all that are all the same as old. But we've been saying that due to some circumstances, especially with regards to the high duty rates and all that, it makes compliance very difficult for people to actually submit all these documents that they require. And so I think we have to still engage with Bank of Ghana to see how they can revise some of the documentation. It will help them, the Bank of Ghana itself, to know the volume of transaction that we do for forest. Because as it were, we do most of the forest transaction with the black market or the forest bureaus, which does not augur well for government itself.
GCB Bank PLC has recorded a profit after tax of over 1 million Ghana cedis for 2023 from its huge loss position of 555.8 million cedis in 2022. The bank also recorded 26% increase to 37.78 billion cedis in total revenue for 2023. Managing Director of the bank, John Kofi Adumako, says the bank's performance underscores the dedication and resilience of management and staff, which positions the bank for continued success in the future.
The bank said its balance sheet remains strong with total assets of 27.2 billion Ghana cedis, indicating a growth of 26% compared to 2022. Customer deposits reached 21.8 billion Ghana cedis, up 23%, driven by improved product offerings and increased customer confidence in the GCB brand. Managing Director of GCB Bank PLC, John Kofi Adomako, indicated that enhanced and robust digital channels and proactive engagement with customers also boosted the growth in deposits.
As an investor, as you are aware, dividend is very important. Okay, so I do understand the somewhat disappointment about not getting a dividend again for a second year. But you see, we must look at things within the wider interest of the bank and creating value for the shareholder. Dividend is important, but our bank, the shareholders bank, GCB, has gone through a pretty rough patch over the last 2-3 years. It impacted our capital significantly. We're working hard and I've worked hard. And I'm happy to say from the results you have seen, we're getting out of the woods. So we should begin to look, these are equity investments. We should begin to look into the future.
He maintained that the bank remained focused on its strategic pillars on revenue growth and profitability, as well as operational excellence.
Yeah, a number of things happened. We had to reorganize ourselves. We had to be very tight on capital, optimizing our capital better. We had to dig deep into our customers, provide our customers the services in which they wanted. You know, the bank is a bank cut across the whole country, but the largest network bank in Ghana. And so what did we have to do? We had to go raise deposits. We had to grow liabilities. And we used the branch network to grow liabilities. Last year we grew liabilities, I think in excess of about 24%.
Now, the Minerals Income and Investment Fund, MIF, is assuring of maximum investments in human capital to ensure that Ghanaians benefit more from the discovery of natural resources. Speaking to journalists after launching the MIF Women in Mining Scholarship Scheme, Chief Executive of MIF, Edward Nanaya Okrantin, said this is a sure way for the country to achieve economic growth. More in this report.
The Minerals Income and Investment Fund's Women in Mining Scholarship is targeting female students in science and engineering courses in mining communities across the country. The move is part of initiatives aimed at empowering females to go into the mining sector and develop interest in science and engineering. According to the Chief Executive for MIF, Edward Cranting, investing in human capital will inure to the benefit of the country as more locals will gain opportunity to work in the key sectors of the economy.
Investments should not just cover the investments in equities or value chain or value delivery, but investment must cover your human capital. In fact, the most important investment any corporate entity can make is in the human resource. And for us to be able to garner the value that we seek to, especially when it comes to mining, we can't say that it's too early. It's almost like the free SHS. You have the arguments that we should wait 10, 20 years before we implement free SHS, but the negative social impact does not wait for you. As quickly as possible, you need to make sure that you have an even investment outlook, where you look at what you have to do in terms of investments to be able to get your ROI, returns on investment, etc.
Speaking at the same event, Deputy Minister for Finance, Dr. Alice Ampabing, underscored the importance of the initiative as a complement to the government's quest to promote skills education.
At its core, the scholarship scheme supplements government's efforts and consolidates the impressive strides made in the field of education across all levels under the leadership of His Excellency, the President of the Republic. It is a trite knowledge that this government investment in the education sector is unprecedented in both its scale and consequential impact in the annals history of the country.
The scholarship scheme is in collaboration with the University of Mines and Energy in Takwa.
Over two-thirds of Ghana's GDP, the micro, small and medium sector is expected to receive tailored support to grow the sector. Now, speaking at the launch of the new Ghana Enterprise Agency Regulation 2023, Chief Executive of the agency, Kosi Yankiaye, noted that the new regulation, which properly redefines and classifies the sector, will improve policies targeted at the support of the sector's growth. We've got more for you in this report.
The Enterprise Agency Regulation 2023 is to define the various classifications under the micro, small and medium sectors. The regulation, which has been passed by Parliament, will seek to aid policy formulation to improve the support provided to the sector. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, Ghana's SME sector contributes about 70% of the country's GDP, while it employs about 80% of the workforce. Kosi Yankiaye is the Chief Executive of the Ghana Enterprise Agency. She explains that the new regulation will improve support schemes to boost the SME sector.
It allows policymakers to understand the sector in which they need to support. It allows us to design interventions without randomly coming up with interventions. Because now you know what the sector is, you know what the type of people you're working with is, and you know what type of needs that they might have. What does it also do for policymakers? One of the things we seek to do as Ghana Enterprises Agency is to set up a database, a major database. We do have one, but now we're going to reclassify our database and also expand that database. It allows us to segment the micro, small and medium enterprises, the businesses available. It allows us to then also take these MSMEs and say, what interventions are we giving them? How do we migrate them?
Minister for Trade and Industry, Kobina Tahir Hammond, noted that the new regulation will boost economic growth.
As we continue to solidify the country's position as a leading hub for entrepreneurship and investment, immense focus is placed on the nurturing the micro, small and medium enterprises sector, recognizing the integral role they play in both society and the economic expansion. MEs are the backbone of Ghana's economy, and growth of the sector is aligned with the goals of the 2030 Sustainable Development agenda.
Meanwhile, CEO of the Association of Ghana Industries, Seth Chumakwabwa, called for the strengthening of policies which protect and build capacity of small and medium enterprises to enable them compete fairly.
So if you look at the number of programs they are turning out lately, it's quite encouraging and indeed comprehensive. So it is important that our MSMEs get to know of these opportunities and take full advantage of it. I'm not saying this is enough. There's a lot more that could be done. A lot more could be done in the area of making sure that the imports that are coming in to compete with them are curtailed in a way. And the way to do it is that we build local capacity. So when these activities are taking place, these support schemes and programs are taking place, it's helping to build the capacities of local enterprises so they can compete with the imported products.
The launch also coincided with the commemoration of the 2024 International MSME Day.
In the advent of emerging technology, Seed Ghana is poised to offer valuable digital skills training to women-led SMEs. Speaking to Joy Business at the launch of the Bridging the Digital Divide for Inclusive Value Chain Development project, founder of Seed Ghana, Gifty, noted that tailored support, technical support for women entrepreneurs will be essential to the growth of the economy.
Bridging the Digital Divide for Inclusive Value Chain Development is a 12-month project which seeks to assist women entrepreneurs to leverage digital skills, e-commerce and other digital business solutions to grow. Powered by Seed Ghana, the program will involve masterclasses and practical lessons. It will also equip female entrepreneurs build sustainable business modules, which will improve their credit worthiness and enable them scale up and be competitive on the global scene. Gifty Volume Karime, founder of Seed Ghana, called for sustainable interventions to encourage women entrepreneurs at the launch of the project.
The government is working with the Ghana Enterprise Agency, initially getting Standard Board to approve, especially those that are into manufacturing, was very challenging, but now there is a system in place. When you work with them, they are able to waive some of the charges and you can get the approvals on time. So I think that is good, even though there's still a lot of work to be done because we still have some barriers to cross, but it's been a great opportunity to do that. I think the piece also would be looking at the fair trade components as well, so that the women can fully get acquainted with those standards to be able to compete globally.
She shares some details on the project.
Digital inclusion is critical. It's part of the components we have to achieve as in the SDGs. But it also has a huge potential to increase GDPs of countries. And for Ghana, we are looking at increasing our GDP by 14 million by 2025 if we include women in the digital economy. So those are the components that we felt it is the right time to concentrate in terms of digital skills for the women.
On her part, Dr. Florence Vanderpoy, the Executive Director of Rashpina Ventures and facilitator for the project, called for policies and conversations to encourage women-led businesses.
When we have such fora, we are able to share our knowledge, share information, and leverage on each other's strengths and skills. So women need to constantly affirm each other, and such platforms give us that space to do that. Affirmative action is there. That bill should be passed so that it will permeate every aspect of our society. As long as that bill is not being passed and is being shelved, it means we are not taking what needs to be taken seriously.
Prime Business. Prime Sports is next. I am Pius Kojo Baka.